Welcome everyone, Eugene Hughes Motorized. This is part 5 of my multi-part series on how to install an engine kit, little 66cc two-stroke on your bicycle so you can have your motorized bicycle and go tearing ass through the neighborhood.
Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. It is now time for a confession from Brother Eugene.
Okay, boys and girls, I got a confession to make. I got a conundrum here, okay? I'm going to show you how to put an engine on a bicycle. The conundrum is this: putting a motor on a bicycle is a very dangerous idea, okay? It's a very fun idea. I want you to keep in mind the safety aspects of this here, okay? You're taking a risk. Confession time over.
And that concludes our confession for this video. Thank you very much.
Alrighty then, well, first things first. Will the dang engine fit? How do we know? Now this is a template here that I got courtesy of BikeBerry. I saw their video. Basically, you're going to take you a piece of paper, go up 9 inches, make you a mark, go over 7 inches, make you a mark, and then you're going to go over 3.5 inches here and make you a mark, okay? Then you're going to mark you a line from the 3.5 inch down to the 7 inch, and we will use this as our template. And basically, if this fits inside of the frame, a two-stroke engine kit should certainly fit, okay? All right, so what bike do I recommend and love the most to put a motor kit on? The Beach Cruiser. Why a beach cruiser? I love beach cruisers for motorized use to build. The frames are steel, the frames will flex. Unlike aluminum, aluminum doesn't like to flex so much. You get aluminum to keep flexing and flexing, it'll wind up cracking on you. That's not good. So your steel frames, they're tough. Speaking of tough, most of your beach cruisers have 26 by 2.125 inch tires on them. The rims typically are steel. The rims are going to be tough as well. The frame of the beach cruiser accepts a motor kit fairly easily. The template, most of them, it's real easy. You can see they're going to fit. The majority of the engine kits were designed around a beach cruiser too, so that's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, next up on our list is a mountain bike. Take a look at your mountain bike. A lot of mountain bikes have steel frames. I prefer the steel over the aluminum frame because steel will flex and it's a lot more forgiving and it's going to continue to flex. Now, a high-end mountain bike, they're going to be well designed to handle the wear and tear that we might give it if we put a motor on it. You're also going to pay a lot more for it. So your basic discount store mountain bike, if they have an aluminum frame, I'd stay away from it. Mountain bikes, one of the negatives I would see on a mountain bike for a choice you got to be careful is if they have the rear suspension on it. That's not suitable for motorized use. You want to avoid mountain bikes with the rear suspension unless you're going to have to get real creative to do that, and that's beyond the scope of this video series here. Mountain bikes often have only 1.75 inch wide tires, and they come with the knobby tires on it. I don't like that so much for streets, but if you're going to be scooting around in the dirt, that's going to be a plus for you. Often enough, mountain bikes have alloy rims on it, and the alloy doesn't like to take the hits that we're going to give it on streets. So that's something you want to think about here. I've seen plenty of examples of the alloy wheels chipping and cracking because of motorized use. Often enough with a mountain bike, you're going to have a rough time getting the engine to fit. Most instances they'll fit, but you may have to get an offset intake to move the carburetor off to the side because it won't fit underneath your down tube there. Next up, let's take a look at road bikes. I'm an old fart here. Back in the day we called them 10 speeds. Now we got 21 and up speeds, whatever. But your classic road bike, some of the older road bikes, they're okay as well. Often enough with your road bikes, they came with alloy wheels on them, and and as well the skinnier tires. I'm not a big fan of that for motorized use, but a lot of your road bikes, you've got ample room to put the engine in the frame, and if you've got a good solid road bike and you be careful and you don't do any panic stops and swerve on it, I've seen it where the wheels do what they call tacoing. It'll fold over like a taco if you've got those skinny rims on it. So be advised, that's something you want to be careful about. But a lot of people have gotten great service out of road bikes, so that's not something you definitely want to avoid, but you do want to keep it in mind. Next up on the list is fat tire bikes. Fat tire bikes will present a challenge. Number one, it's a very tight fit to get the engine in most parts, and you'll definitely need to use an offset adapter for your carburetor. And in order to get the chain to clear that fat tire, you're going to have to come up with some creative solutions in order to mount the engine. Some people get around that by mounting the engine the standard way and then add in a jack shaft or a shift kit, which will then transmit the power to your chain ring and use your pedal chain. I'm not a big fan of putting the torque and the power from the engine onto that skinny little chain. Some people swear by it, some people swear at the jack shaft kits. I would rather go ahead and go straight from the engine, add on a rag joint or a hub adapter, and go that way. Another option you may want to consider, that there's a component called a top hat adapter where you can mount, where you can take advantage of the mounting bolts for the disc and use that, put the top hat adapter on, which you can then bolt on your drive sprocket, and that'll have you ripping down the road. One safety concern I have with a fat tire bike are the fat tires. They're fairly thin and they're fairly big and they hold a lot of air. If you manage to be tearing down the road and you have a puncture, you could have just an instant failure and you're going to lose control real quick. One way around that is to put a 3-inch tire on it. Duro sells a 26 by 3-inch beach bum tire, which I've put on my fat tire e-scooter, and that works fine. I think it's durable enough and it's going to be safe enough. I'm not so concerned about that blowing out. Next up on our list of bikes to look at, let's look at the ladies' bikes. There's a lot of ladies' beach cruisers out there, but the double bar makes it hard to put the engine in. And as well, you're going to wind up with a crotch warmer, and you're going to have to get creative on how to mount the gas tank. It's not insurmountable. People have done them. One option would be to cut that second top bar out, add another bar in. So that may be an option. You may be able to score a real neat looking vintage ladies bike, and if you got some welding skills or you got someone who can help you weld in a new top bar, you may be in business there. So that's something you may want to consider, okay? All right, something that's going to look absolutely cool. I'm not against the cool factor of a stretch beach cruiser. There is, in my mind, a safety issue. You're taking a much longer frame. You're going to be going at a speed it was never designed to be going. That much flex on it. I've seen some cracks in some of the stretch beach cruisers. So be warned, if you're going to build a stretch beach cruiser and put an engine on it, don't be going super fast on it, and watch your frame for cracks. So that's something you want to think about here. Choppers, some of the old Schwinn OCC choppers and the like, those are a lot of fun to motorize. You're going to have a challenge with the fat tire on the ass end of the bike. That's going to create a challenge. However, pedal choppers, as well even Bikeberry, they sell these adapter kits where you can move the engine over and you can clear the rear tire. So there's a lot of people having a lot of fun on these Schwinn OCC choppers and the like. Pedal choppers sells a lot of components on it, so those are a lot of fun, and there's some really creative builds on those bikes there. Another bike that's pretty fun to put an engine kit on are the little 20-inch Stingray bikes, like the old Schwinn Stingray and the reproductions, the McCargy Hero 20-inch bike. You don't have a lot of room to fit the engine, but you can squeeze an engine in there, and oftentimes you'll have to use a offset intake because a carburetor won't fit, and that's just a little tube that puts a carburetor off to the side and back a little bit. But you can make some fun little bikes. They're not so safe at speed, but the cool factor is way off the charts. Okay, last but not least is a style of bike that a lot of people call the gas bike frames. Gas bike, I don't know if they were one of the first ones who came out with this here. It's an all aluminum frame that has the gas tank built into the frame. You're going to spend more money building those, but some people have done some really super cool and radical builds with those. So that's something you may want to consider. It's also going to cost you more money. So you're going to have to buy the frame itself. You're looking at about $200 or so for the frame. Then you're going to need to buy the forks, the brakes, the pedal, chain, all that stuff here. But it's worth it. If you've got the money to spend, go for it. All right, boys and girls, I hope I helped you out. If this video helped you out at all, give me a big fat thumbs up. There's a subscribe button down there. There's more videos coming. I haven't filmed part 6 through 17, but that is coming. I'm gonna get my butt busy and get this video series in order. I want to thank you for watching. Wear your helmet. Be careful.